Members of the African intelligentsia, I greet you. I've been monitoring social media and the experiences of African Americans and others returning to the continent. I want to introduce myself as someone who is African. I'm West African with some Caribbean ancestry. And I grew up, I was born in East Africa where my parents were working at the time. I grew up in West Africa, um, and then migrated around the continent after a war broke out in my country, and then wound up in the United States where I went to school and lived for about 15 years. So I have the vantage point of having been born and raised in Africa and living in the United States and now having returned to the continent of Africa. I returned here to Africa in 2011, end of 2011. So I've been here more than 12 years. I've been back more than 12 years. And as an African who has family here, even I have struggled, and it's been a journey for me. And there's one thing I would like to say about the return to Africa: it is not for the faint of heart. The return to Africa is not for the faint of heart. Even, and that rings true even for Africans. How much more for African Americans? And I really take my hat off to those African Americans who have come home and have made it. But you all have seen the struggles of African Americans coming home. Recently, I ran into a video by Go Black to Africa, where he was talking about things that have happened to African Americans who have come home, and whether or not the continent is cursed or whether or not people brought their own curses with them. Um, well, this continent has a mix of people on it. There are those who want to see the continent progress, and there are those diehard traditionalists, particularly among the older generation, who want to see it stuck in the past. Um, Even the person whose channel I saw this video on was making fun of what Go Black to Africa was saying. And I'm telling you, Go Black to Africa was spot on. Whether or not you believe in any kind of spirituality, I am here to tell you that the witchcraft that is on this continent is nothing to joke with. It is part of the reason why I'm saying that coming back to this continent is not for the faint of heart. I'm not just talking about financial preparedness, even coming to see what it's like going back and then coming back prepared. I'm talking about being spiritually prepared to live on this continent. There's a lot of envy here. A lot of people who believe you don't belong here. There are a lot of people who believe I don't belong here, y'all, and I'm African. I'm African. And I've seen it happen to a number of us who have returned. A lot of them don't believe we belong here. You can come here with all your development ideas and things like that. And there are a lot of dark spirits on this continent. People with dark spirits that just don't want development. I have lived and built projects in villages in my own country on this continent and had to abandon those projects and leave, not because I ran out of money, not because I ran out of interest, but because there are villages on this continent where even electricity is not allowed. So if you're coming here, make sure you're coming here spiritually fortified, spiritually prepared. This is when you need Ephesians 6. I mean, you always do. But this is when you need Ephesians 6. If you're coming to this continent, put on the full armor of God. Do not come here naked. Do not come here if you don't know your God. Do not come here if you don't know spiritual warfare. The things people deal with on this continent are nothing to joke with in terms of witchcraft, sorcery, African spirituality, whatever the hell they be talking about, calling it and defending. That stuff is dark and it's real. I've gone through warfare within my own family. But a lot of us are called to return. Yes, 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 yes. Coming here is not just a matter of getting out of Babylon. Yes, we need to get out of Babylon. But coming here, for many of us, is a kingdom assignment. It's a destiny assignment. And if you approach it that way, then you're on the right track. It's an assignment. And God will never send you somewhere where He can't protect you. So if you feel that you're coming back to the continent because you want to get out of Babylon, it's important to get out of Babylon. But make sure you have sat with God in the secret place and that you have taken the time to ask Him, Father, where do you want me to go? I know you have said, come out of her, come out of Babylon. Where do you want me to go? Africa may not be your kingdom assignment. Your kingdom assignment may be Latin America. Your kingdom assignment may be in Africa, but it may be in a particular country. You need to arrive here prayed up, clear about what your kingdom assignment is, where you need to be going. So, for those of you who are here already, I encourage you to become a praying person. If you're having struggles in whatever African country you're in, I encourage you to go into prayer and ask the Lord to protect you and to help you. I don't know why they be carrying on about Oh, Christianity is the white man's religion. Well, heck, many of us just found out that Jesus was black. So is Christianity still the white man's religion? It's not. Jesus is black and God is black. So let's just get over that. A lot of witches will tell you that Christianity is the white man's religion because they know that's where the power is for you to be able to combat them. Let's just establish that. So please be prayerful as you come to the continent. But this continent needs deliverance. Now, I want to tie this to the good things that you see happening on this continent. You're seeing the rise of revolutionary leaders on this continent. You're seeing the rise of innovators. You're seeing Africans coming together, especially among the young, especially among the young people. There's a spirit of revolution on this continent. Some wonderful things are happening here. You're seeing the rise of Ibrahim Traore. You're seeing the rise of Assimi Goita, uh, General Chiani. You're seeing the people of Burkina Faso galvanize behind their leader. You're seeing the people of Mali uh, galvanized behind their leader. You're seeing the people of Niger rise up en masse, especially the youth. And it's been wonderful to see. Even in other countries that are still ruled by puppets, e.g., Kenya, um, Ghana, you're seeing the young people rise up against those puppets. And a lot of them are, again, hanging on to power. A lot of these puppets are hanging on to power on this continent by reason of sorcery. But here is why God sent me back to the continent. Here is why. There are a lot of us who have birthed the movement that you're seeing because we were sent back to this continent as intercessors. And that's my job here. I'm an intercessor. I go to war for this continent. If you look down the list of videos on my channel, you'll see what I'm talking about. There are videos where I've gone to war for the Alliance of Sahelian States and their leaders. So this continent needs intercessors. And I'm one of those, and I know one or two others. Uh how do we get rid of this dark presence on the continent if we don't pray, if we don't intercede, if we don't do the spiritual warfare against the spiritual wickedness in high places that is so entrenched on this continent? That's the only way, y'all. That is the only way, let me tell you. Y'all notice, if you have followed Ibrahim Traore's speeches for any length of time, you'll notice that he starts his speech with thanksgiving to God and ends his speeches with God. The other day, he was talking to the youth and he was telling them, don't only remember God in good times, remember God always. That man, he himself is a praying man. He's not just doing this because he's some kind of great hero. He himself is a praying man. And I'm not saying he's a Christian. I'm saying he behaves like one. And I'm saying that he talks like one. I'm saying that he's probably even on a journey himself. He's probably even on a spiritual journey, finding a relationship with God. And there's some things, there's some truths that he has already established. And that's part of the reason why God has some of us interceding for him. This is a great continent. Let me tell you something else about this continent and why God has kept me here so long. There was a time I got sick of it. There was a time I got fed up with it. And I said to the Lord, I'm leaving. I am ready to go. And the Lord just looked at me and laughed. Like, girl, sit down. And I was furious. Eventually, when I got into a quiet place, the Lord said to me, why do you want to throw out the baby with the bathwater? I'll say that again. The Lord said to me, why do you want to throw out the baby with the bathwater? The Lord said to me, look around at the country you're in, that you hate so much because its people are so corrupt. Is it the country itself that is corrupt, or is it the people that are corrupt? And I looked around. Beautiful country, beaches, just well vegetated. You could eat a mango, throw the seed on the side of the road, and tomorrow morning it will just spring up. You could throw the seed in your backyard and it will spring up. If you don't want it there growing under the foundation of your fence, you will have to root it up. That's how rich this country is, the country that I'm in. This country is rich. Right now, we're in the rainy season. When you hear rainfall, I mean just heavy, an abundance of rainfall every year. Sunshine, an abundance of sunshine, 6 months of straight rainfall, 6 months of sunshine. Rich country, food everywhere. Beautiful. Lakes, rivers, mountains, forests. The country is rich, but its people are the problem. Its people are corrupt. And so the Lord said to me, you don't think I can replace the people? I can replace the people. I can fix that. But what I have created, I have created. Don't curse the country. Yes, by all means, go to war against the darkness in the country. Go to war against the witches and wizards. I'm really trying hard not to use the heathen word here because I know some of y'all come for me. By all means, go to war against the witches and wizards. But don't throw out this continent with the bathwater. I can get rid of the witches and wizards. I can get rid of the puppets. You don't think I can get rid of puppets? That's nothing for me. But don't give up on a rich continent. And your oppressors, that's all they're waiting to see you do. They're just waiting to see you quit and give up on it. You intercessors are the only ones holding up the sovereignty of the nations of this continent. They're just waiting to see you. And I told y'all before in previous videos, if you think you're the only one doing witchcraft on this continent, if you think Africans are the only ones doing witchcraft in this world, think again. That's how they're dominating the global south, because they're doing some high level witchcraft in the West. And the devil is giving them a lot more power than he's giving people on this continent. And that's because he knows who we are. And they're just oppressing you spiritually. Wickedness in high places. They're oppressing you spiritually, hoping that you'll give up. Hoping that you'll give up. And the Lord said to me, do not throw out the baby with the bathwater. You got to stick it out. You got to fight it out. You got to fight for the liberation of this continent. Look at Ibrahim Traore, and I'll leave you with this. Look at Ibrahim Traore. How many attempts have been made on his life? How many? At least 10 attempts have been made on his life. Did white people come to State House to shoot him? No. They passed through his own brothers. It's his own brothers that they used. They passed through his own brothers, y'all. Suppose Ibrahim Traore, with everything that has been accomplished, with everything that you have seen, all of us excited about what is happening in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. Suppose Ibrahim Traore wakes up one morning and says, you know what? It's not worth it. Some of my own people that I'm fighting for are against me. I quit. That is just unthinkable. That is completely unimaginable. He cannot do that. That's what we would be thinking. And yet he's not the only warrior on the continent. There are many heroes, warriors that are here, that are interceding, fighting for the continent in different ways. And we cannot give up. We cannot give up. And sometimes the battle is fiercest at the very end, on the very verge, on the edge of breakthrough, on the edge of victory. That's when the battle is fiercest. So by all means, I want to crack the code about returning to this continent. Whether you're African American, whether you're African and that's been living abroad for a long time, or whether you are from the Caribbean, even. I want to crack the code on returning to Africa. If you're coming here to rediscover your African spirituality roots, then you're coming here to be part of the problem. And you might just get sucked in because at the end of the day, they'll never see you as one of them. To them, you're American, and that's it. So you might as well stay in Babylon and be burning your sage. Because that's what Black to Africa was talking about. A lot of y'all are over there burning sage and just preparing to come here so you can go full-blown witchcraft. And it will destroy you. They'll never see you as one of them here. So just stay over there. Don't come and add to the problem that's already here. For those of you who are wanting to get out of Babylon because you know the destruction that's coming out of it, do not come here unprepared, spiritually and financially. Ask the Lord, where do you want me to go? Is it Benin? Is it Togo? Is it Ghana? Is it Sierra Leone? Is it Burkina? Where do you want me to go? Is it South Africa? And what is my assignment there? What do you want me to be doing? You have to come prepared. This place is serious. It is not for the faint of heart. And with that, members of the intelligentsia, I'm going back to bed. It is the Sabbath. For those of you Hebrews, happy Sabbath. And don't come for me telling me your voice sounds groggy. It's Saturday and I'm sleepy. Thank you. Goodbye. Love you all. So I did not get to go back to sleep. Um, my son protested, you know, like Nigerians against Tinubu. We are hungry. Or Kenyans against Ruto. Ruto must go. You know, Mama must get up. And bad parenting. So I'm up. You know, if you want to keep the position of leadership in your household, you must adhere to the requests of your constituents. You must be responsive to their needs. So I repealed the finance bill. I restored the fuel subsidy. I'm on the feet and I'm in the kitchen. Thank you. Goodbye.